U.S. Treasury insider confirms emergency IQD rate push before Sunday. RV alert 2025 Iraqi Dinar, including your channel's intro. Welcome back to RV News, your trusted source for daily updates, deep analysis, and breaking developments in the world of global currency revaluation. If you're holding Iraqi Dinar, or Vietnamese Dong, or even just watching the RV space closely, then you'll want to buckle up for today's report. This is one of the biggest alerts we've issued all year. What we're about to reveal comes directly from sources close to the U.S. Treasury, an insider who has confirmed something absolutely monumental. According to this source, there is an emergency push happening behind closed doors to finalize and release the revaluation rate of the Iraqi Dinar before Sunday. Yes, you heard that correctly, before this coming Sunday. Major players in the financial world are preparing for what could be the most significant IQD rate shift since the 2003 restructuring. Let's dig deep into what's really going on. Over the past 72 hours, communication between global financial institutions, select banks, and international regulatory bodies has intensified. Our insider, who has previously delivered confirmed intel on rate fluctuations and redemption center logistics, now states that the U.S. Treasury has entered a final phase of emergency meetings to prepare for a controlled, pre-Sunday rate release of the Iraqi Dinar. This aligns with what some military and Tier 3 level sources have alluded to, that the window for the RV is narrowing rapidly and will be activated during a period of market silence, such as a weekend or holiday lull, to prevent public panic and speculative trading. So, what triggered this emergency move? According to multiple layers of confirmation, including international banking chatter and government memos, the answer is twofold: political urgency and economic coordination. On the political side, Prime Minister Al-Sudani has made multiple closed-door visits to Washington over the past month, which were initially downplayed as routine diplomatic discussions. However, we now know these visits were strategic talks with the U.S. Treasury, IMF, and World Bank to finalize mechanisms for the rate adjustment. Iraq has met key benchmarks required under the Financial Framework Reform Bill signed late last year. Those include anti-corruption enforcement, oil revenue redistribution agreements, and currency transparency protocols. Now, let's focus on the economic coordination aspect. The global shift toward a multipolar currency landscape is accelerating. BRICS nations are moving rapidly to establish their gold-backed alternative to the US dollar as a global reserve currency. In response, Western powers are accelerating efforts to bolster their economic allies and reset currencies that will play a central role in the future of global trade. Iraq is one of those key players. This isn't just about Iraq's oil reserves, it's also about Iraq's strategic position in the Middle East, its trading relationships with China, Russia, and Europe, and its growing stability. For the United States, supporting Iraq's currency revaluation is both a political and economic countermove to BRICS influence. As of now, we have confirmation that the rate push will begin with Tier 1 banking systems late Friday night, with digital updates to bank screens expected between 11 p.m. EST Friday and 3 a.m. EST Saturday morning. Only high-level Treasury-connected branches will have immediate access to the preliminary rates. From there, the rollout expands in a top-down structured tier to institutions by midday Saturday, followed by restricted Tier 3 testing Saturday evening. Tier 4B, which includes US The Internet Group, private exchangers, and early adopters, being advised to prepare for full notifications anytime from Saturday evening through Sunday morning. Redemption centers are being staffed accordingly with extended shifts already logged into the system for the weekend. One of the most critical elements to understand is the phrase, emergency rate push. This isn't just a routine adjustment. The emergency designation suggests that something external, possibly geopolitical or financial, is pressuring U.S. authorities to act faster than anticipated. There is speculation, and I stress speculation here, that a coordinated BRICS currency announcement may be planned for early next week. If this proves true, it would explain the urgency to roll out the IQD revaluation prior to that event, securing Iraq's economic alignment with Western financial structures before any competing system is announced. Now, for those of you wondering about the exact rate, here's what we know so far. Based on insider estimates from Treasury briefing documents, the expected international rate for the IQD is projected to land in the range of $3.91 to $4.71. The contract rate, offered in some Tier 4B exchanges and at select redemption centers, may touch as high as $6.25 per IQD. But this would be contingent upon NDA compliance and certain long-term commitments tied to humanitarian project proposals. Keep in mind, rates can vary based on geopolitical shifts, liquidity windows, and Treasury decisions made in real time. No one has the final live rate until it's published. However, these projections are not mere rumors, they are pulled directly from rate sheets, institutional briefings, and bank training sessions that have taken place this week. Let's now shift briefly to security and timing. Multiple field agents and banking contacts have informed us that Treasury has issued a blackout order on internal communications from 10 p.m. Friday to 6 a.m. Saturday. This is highly unusual. It indicates a critical update phase, during which rate changes will be locked in, redemption center codes activated, and early notification packages sent out to priority exchangers. This blackout window is also aligned with a period where international SWIFT updates and cross-border rate syncs occur, which further confirms the likelihood of a global rate integration process. If you're asking, how do I prepare for this? Here's what we suggest. First, double-check that you are subscribed to legitimate RV notification groups. Many providers, including Wells Fargo and Tier 1 banks, will use registered lists and secure email domains to contact early exchangers. Second, make sure your currency is properly organized, verified, and stored in a secure location. You may be asked to present it for verification through Delarue machines or other authenticity checks. Third, begin preparing your personal exchange plan. Know the questions you want to ask. Will I be taxed? What rate options do I have? Is there an NDA involved? Can I negotiate terms based on project proposals? Also, don't underestimate the importance of knowing your appointment window. Redemption centers will likely operate on a structured schedule, beginning as early as Sunday afternoon and continuing through the following week. If you receive a notification, act quickly but don't panic. Follow the instructions exactly. Many centers will be working with new AI-enhanced security protocols, facial recognition, biometric verification, and real-time database syncing to prevent fraud or double exchange attempts. In other words, once you exchange, your data is locked, and you can't return with more currency later. Back to the Treasury intel for a moment. The insider also mentioned that there's a soft wall on this activation, meaning if it doesn't occur by Sunday at 6 p.m. EST, then a brief delay may be imposed until the following Thursday. That's a worst-case scenario based on potential market interference or unforeseen international disruption. However, all systems are currently green-lit. The Treasury, IMF, and key banking institutions are in agreement. The emergency push is not speculative, it's real, it's activated, and it's moving toward a narrow weekend window. This is not a drill. We also have a report that select bank managers in the Southeast U.S., including branches in Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina, have been instructed to remain on call this weekend with access to vaults and secure conference rooms. These locations are likely to serve as test sites for early Tier 4B exchanges, especially for clients with large IQD holdings. Several redemption center employees have also verified extended hours and additional shifts, indicating they are expecting a surge of activity over a very compressed time frame. Let's touch briefly on the Vietnamese dong. While the primary focus right now is the IQD, there is mounting pressure to include the VND in the same weekend window or shortly thereafter. Vietnam has recently passed financial reform packages and entered into new trade agreements with both the US and EU that position the dong for parity adjustments. Sources close to the matter believe the VND could be revalued in the range of 47 cents to 91 cents, with a possible contract rate nearing $1.12. Again, nothing is set in stone, but this data matches previous forecasts and current banking discussions. To all our subscribers and followers here at RV News, this is the moment we've been preparing for. Years of research, patience, and holding strong may soon pay off. We encourage you to stay calm, remain focused, and above all be ready. This weekend could be historic. If the IQD rate does indeed push through as confirmed by our Treasury source, you can expect cascading financial effects in markets worldwide. The ripple will begin in Iraq, then expand through Forex, cross-border settlements, and international trade networks. We'll continue to monitor the situation 24/7. If you're not yet subscribed to RV News, now is the time. Hit that notification bell, because the next 48 to 72 hours could include some of the most important announcements in RV history. We'll bring you up